plenty of times where I think I'm there and I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm still so far away from, being where I want to be. But how do I know? It could just be one person. It could be one conversation. It could be
Yeah.
one interaction. It could be one meeting that can put me or take me to where I've been striving to be. And instead, you get to feeling defeated and you lose your momentum. So I guess, like my advice for somebody is just make sure that you're listening to things that are going to constantly push you or remind you or motivate you or just make you think just a little bit different.
Hey guys, welcome to another episode of Chicago Real. Today we have a real treat. We have Jennica England with Coldwell Banker. She's a real estate professional. Jennica, welcome to the program.
Thank you for having me.
This is a pretty cool office. You gave me the quick tour here, and you just had this whole office redone, right?
Yep, they just remodeled everything, and we're in the historical district of downtown Plainfield, so it's a great location and a very nice office.
Yeah. So you guys are also doing deals in Chicago too, right? In the suburbs.
Yep, we have agents that travel all over Illinois.
Yeah, that's cool. And so tell me a little bit about yourself, which I know some, but tell me a little. How did you get into the real estate game?
Prior to doing real estate, I was with a company, Sprint/T-Mobile, for I believe around 12 years.
That's cool.
Worked my way up from just working in the front of a store, setting up your cell phone, to
Yeah.
working behind the scenes, taking care of 35 stores.
That's cool.
The deeper that I got into that, more opportunity opened for me. And once the owner of that company sold the business, I realized that I wanted to create a business for myself. I wanted to create something that I could eventually leave to my kids, something that would be sort of my legacy or something that was mine and that was built by me.
Oh, that's
So
cool.
real estate with a love of houses and people and all of that seemed like the way to go.
Yeah. So you think in your career, and well, we'll jump back a little bit in your background, but when you got into the real estate business, prior to that, you operated like a W-2 employee, right? And
For the majority of my time with Sprint, I did operate as a W-2 employee.
yeah. And so how did you cross over to having your own business? I know you're a broker here, but the way you structure yourself, right? It's different than a W-2 employee. So what led you there to switch over?
Mentorship, surrounding myself with people that kind of had already been there, done that. Just learning, different avenues that I can take that would put more money in my pocket and allow me to kind of structure a business, create a business, build from there. And
That's cool.
that's kind of what led me to that
Yeah,
avenue.
it's interesting because I know that you're a full-time mom and you still have kids, and one in high school, right, and then another one in grade school. And how do you juggle those things, right? You're a wife, you're a mom, you also work, because you love working with kids. Not only you do this, but then you work at a school helping kids that have trouble learning and all that sort of thing. And how do you manage all that?
I mean, it's definitely not easy. I definitely wouldn't say that I'm 100% at it, but it's a balancing act. Just like with anything that you do, it's setting priorities, knowing when this is going to take priority, when the kids are going to take priority, and balancing everything so that I'm at home to cook dinner, or my husband and I, we have a very good relationship where if I'm working late or I have to run and do something, he's there and he's able to take the kids to their sporting events, or he's able to get dinner on the table. I mean, communication, balance,
Sure.
they know that I work, and my husband and I like to kind of show them this is what it looks like. This is what it looks like to run a business or
Right.
work in a business or
Does
build.
is he involved in your business, or what's he involved in?
He helps out. He does help out. He's very good with the computing of things, or getting things together for me, or compiling data for me. He's not really so much in the business, but he's definitely behind the scenes helping me when I need help.
That's
with
cool.
things.
That's good. And so let's touch base on the real estate market. As myself too, I used to invest in real estate and in the past, and so on the buy and flip side and some holds and holding some, but I haven't been in it in like 3 to 4 years. And so where's the market at? Because I sometimes hear, oh, it's a good time to buy. It's not a good time to buy. Interest rates are high now as they were. They're going up like 5 basis points or 4 basis points or whatever since last year. And so where's kind of like because I know you work for investors, your clients, your list of clients are investors, but also, people are just shopping around for their first home, second home, that sort of thing, and they reach out to you. So where do you see the market as on the investor side, right? And I know you and I chatted before while the producer was setting up, and any good deals out there, and what's happening with the market. So let's touch base on that. Where's the market at as on the investor side, and then we'll talk about
On the investor side, it's kind of tough. It's going to depend on the area, and it's going to depend on what you're looking for. How much money do you want to put into a property? Fixing it up, what are you going to do with it? Are you just going to flip the property? Is it something that you're going to use? You want to use it as a rental property, what have you. I mean, right now it's kind of slow. Inventory's low. Stuff is still pretty high. Interest rates are still pretty high. I mean, investors mainly come in with cash, but I mean, it all depends. What do you want to use the investment for? Where are you looking to purchase? And how much money is going to go into fixing it up?
Right.
It's not a perfect market for investment. I mean, honestly, right now, it's a lot of, first-time home buyers. They kind of don't, they're not in a low interest rate now. They
Right.
might be renting. So the high interest for them, I mean, it's part of the deal.
Right.
But if it's something that they're going to make their forever home, then that's perfect for them because,
Right.
Say the interest drops next year. You
So
just refinance.
it's the climate, so the market has it dropped at all, or it's just slowed down?
It has slowed down. So, like last month, everybody's still purchasing and still purchasing,
Really?
which causes interest rates to go up. But now everything's kind of slowed down.
Right.
So that's caused the interest to kind of slow down. So hopefully by next year, but we can't know that for certain, but
Right.
hopefully it will start to slowly come down. But I mean, again, to get to where we were,
Yeah.
that could take a year, that could take 2 years. You
And-
have married people fighting over who gets to keep their low interest in the divorce.
Right, right.
It's definitely crazy
And
times.
you deal with divorce people too, right?
Yeah.
They're splitting the
I mean,
houses.
everybody needs houses, but I mean, you're getting a divorce, then yeah, you need a house.
You're getting
But
a divorce,
who gets
call
to keep the
Jen
house with
England.
the 3% interest rate?
Yeah.
That's the problem. Or do
Yeah.
we just cohabitate until?
Until one of them kill
Yeah.
the
No,
other one.
I mean, I wouldn't go that far, but
So are the prices like they took a dip, or they're maintaining on
the home pricing.
Yeah.
Home pricing is kind of it's still a little high. I mean, now homes are sitting a little bit longer than they have been. There's not that much out there. It's all supply and demand. So if there's not, I mean, that all is going to affect it. But
Yeah.
now with stuff sitting a little bit longer, you might see them start to trickle down. But we're still pretty high considering where the interest rates are.
Right. And so, in the beginning of the program, you said like when let's switch gears now a little bit. When you got into real estate, you said a lot of mentorship. You read books and stuff. Like, touch base on that, right? And because our audience is pretty vast, there's some seasoned investors. I get DM'd a lot, and they and it's pretty cool. They thank us, for the information we bring, and as we bring different people to the podcast. But how did you make that switch, right? And that you did mention mentorship and just your mindset. Elaborate on that. So how did you get here, right? This is an awesome office, and you totally switched gears in your career. You structured yourself different. Touch base on that. Like, you went from a W-2 to a self-employed person, and that owns her own company and her own book of business here for Coldwell Banker. So how did you do that? Like, let's touch base on that a little
Honestly,
bit.
I think it was that I was in a point where I was making decent money, but it was about how can I increase the amount of money that I'm making, but still doing what I'm doing. So that was the first conversation. Is like, okay, how do I make more money? So in that is mentorship, reaching out to people like yourself, that have been in the business, that know how to do this. And it's having conversations like that, like, how can I make more money if I'm happy doing what I'm doing? So it was a conversation that was like, well, right now you're a W-2 employee. All your taxes are taken out for you. Everything's done that way. But if you restructured yourself to where you have the company take you out of that, and now they're going to pay your business. You're going to create a business, you're going to create an LLC, and you're going to have your company, instead of paying you as an employee, pay your LLC.
That's
Now
cool.
that puts more money in my pocket, in everybody's pocket. It puts more money in my pocket to where I'm making more money, but now I have money that I can reinvest into my business.
Right.
So if I'm reinvesting that, that's keeping that with me, and then that's growing me, that's growing my business, and that is kind of putting me on different avenues to where I'm building for myself
Right.
instead of just for somebody else.
That's cool. I know you mentioned her before the show here that you also help your clients do the same thing, like structure themselves and when they're buying a second home and all that, how to use that leverage, so they pay less taxes legally and how to do that. So you also help your clients with that stuff?
Yeah, I mean, I'm there to advise if they need, help with anything, ideas,
Sure.
stuff like that. Yes.
And what kind of like books you've read and that sort of thing that helped you kind of like shift?
Any kind of self-help, motivational, anything that's going to, like you're saying, help my mindset, make my mindset stronger, give me ideas or teach me things that I didn't know to kind of help everybody else with. Atomic Habits was one that I feel like is really popular right now.
Atomic Habits. I started reading that book, and it's amazing how like little tweaks you do, like to really implement that. So that book, you would say Atomic Habits.
That is, honestly, that's one that I feel like I just kind of need to stay in, is because that's where I struggle the most, is informing habits. Because we can all make a list. We can all, say like, this is where I want to be. These are my goals. This is where I'm going to go. This is what I'm going to do. This is how I'm going to structure it. And it's all forming habits. Like, it takes a habit in order for me to say like, oh, I'm going to get up earlier every morning. So it's not just going to it's not just going to happen. I have to form the habit to get up earlier every morning. The same thing with my business. It's forming habits. It's forming consistency. And that's for me one of the things that I would say I struggle with the most is consistency. And with everything, consistency is key.
Yeah.
And with that, you need habits.
Yeah, I think that's for the most part. I think that's everyone in general, right?
Yep.
So, like, what are one of the things that you like struggle with? Like to stay consistent, like making your calls, following up with clients, or what are the things that you struggle with? You think that has that book helped that you implemented?
One of the things that I struggle with the most, I feel like that's kind of like a two-parter, but one of the things I struggle with the most right now in consistency and forming a habit on is social media presence. So, I mean, everybody knows a realtor. I think everybody knows at least 7
Yeah.
to 10 realtors.
Okay.
So what's going to set me apart from the other 7
Right.
realtors that you know?
Right.
So kind of what I wanted for myself was to create some sort of social media presence that, I mean, maybe it is like everybody else's and maybe it's not, but it reaches people differently than you might reach people. I might be a little bit different than you are. So one of the things that I wanted for myself was to create a social media presence, but not all the same thing.
Right.
Maybe it's a little bit of fun. Maybe it's a little bit of how to make your house smell better. Maybe it's a little bit of what popular kitchens am I seeing? What's going to help you sell your home? Maybe it's just conversation, stuff like this.
Right.
That's something that I want to build for myself, but I'm trying to form the consistency to do it. So it's recording maybe Sunday. Maybe I'm going to record 3 videos so that I have 3 different things that I could put out there
Right.
that I have already made and ready to go. And so that's for me right now. What I'm working on is setting a schedule, being consistent, forming the habit of creating those things that I'm going to push out there that are going to maybe set me apart just a little bit
Right.
from.
And that book, and I know this is not about the book, but I always ask, what kind of book someone's reading or what's the book that they change their lives. And I just had an interview with a very successful businessman the other day, And one of the books he mentioned is by Dale Carnegie, which I've read. It's a phenomenal book, and I read that book years ago. And he kind of like made me pick it up again. It's How to Win Friends and Influence People, and that really helped him, and so that's the reason why I ask, So you applying the principles you read in that book, have you seen any change in your business and like your routines, like you with the social media postings, right? Have you seen any like things moving the needle a little bit as you begin to implement those things? Because a lot of people read stuff, but what's really the most important is taking action, right? Like
Yeah.
really taking action, because knowledge without action is dead. And so, what kind of changes have you seen that you've been implementing?
So I haven't implemented anything with the social media yet. That's what I'm working on right now
Okay.
in forms of staying consistent, getting
Yeah.
that going. That's my current project.
Yeah.
Other habits and things like that I have been working on and have noticed a difference. For me, it's personal health, personal development, working out, eating better, feeding my family better, staying consistent with that, making sure that I'm going to bed on time, making sure that I'm getting up, whether I'm tired, whether I'm not. I think we talked about this earlier, forcing yourself up.
Yeah.
Do the things that you need to do even when you don't feel like doing them. I don't feel like going to the gym sometimes, but there I am at the gym, and I'll cry through it and deal with it later. But for my biggest thing or my biggest takeaway, I would say right now is that habit, just
Yeah.
healthy, being healthier overall, and making sure that my family is healthier overall.
Yeah, and obviously, like it's amazing, right? Because everybody knows going to the gym. You always feel like I don't, you always feel like not going to the gym. But I can't ever say after leaving the gym I feel like crap.
Right. You never regret it.
Yeah.
You might not want to go, but once you're there, you're fine. You don't
Yeah.
regret it. You feel great. You leave. You're like, okay, that was a great workout. Now I know that I'm going to feel better for the rest of the day.
Funny you mentioned about going to the gym, how he's another guy I follow, and that he was actually this morning how important going to the gym is and getting his health in order. He was making millions of dollars a year, but his lifestyle wasn't healthy, and he like 10x his business by just changing the way he ate, being more consistent with his health. And this guy's chiseled, and I mean, he's phenomenal. And so that's what you're talking about, right? Like when you're talking about your health and eating better, going to bed on time. How much of an impact has it made in your life overall?
I mean, it's made a huge impact. You feel different. You feel more motivated. You feel better. You wake up. You have more energy. You feel like you can accomplish more.
Mm-hmm.
And if you're in a place where you're not healthy, then how much can you really devote to everything else? Like how healthy can your business be, or how healthy can like I feel like that kind of is the root of making sure that you're able to help others or do more or
Yeah.
be who you need to be.
Yeah, and it's kind of a selfish thing, right? When you don't work on yourself, because then you're not putting out you're just not putting out 100%, and like your clients, right? If you just let's half-ass it, like you're not really giving the service that your clients deserve, and
Yep.
and it's kind of a selfish thing when you don't put it all out there. How do you like get your clients?
Um, Clients are word of mouth, people that I've known, friends, family, referrals.
And what kind of access you have in the real estate? Like you do any pocket listings? I know you work with a plethora of investors. So how do you obtain
How
your
do
clients?
I find my clients?
Yeah. How do you obtain your clients and your business, your book of business?
So far, the clients that I have gotten have been people that I have previously worked with, people that family has referred to me, people that have worked with me prior and had said, "Oh, I have a great agent for you. You need to give her a call."
Yeah.
So far, everything's been word of mouth and referral.
Okay. That's
Meeting
good.
people, introducing myself to people. Hey, let me know when you have a question. Let me know if there's anything I can help you
Yeah.
with.
And I know you mentioned that when you switch to the real estate business, it's something you enjoy, right? You get up and you enjoy doing because you love talking to people, servicing people, and helping them, right? And but what really motivates you every day?
Honestly, just creating something that makes me happy. Just being able to do things that make me happy. And
And
just
money,
like
of
we,
course, right?
and money, of course. I love people. I love meeting new people. I love hearing people's stories and backgrounds and all things like that. So just getting up knowing that I might meet somebody different or I get to work with this person today. And,
Yeah.
like you said, like working with kids have been, something that I'd always loved to do is working with youth and, mentorship and listening. And, not everybody comes from the perfect home or, not everybody's living the perfect life and some struggle and
Yeah.
just sometimes people just need somebody to listen to them.
Right. Because I know that being in the real estate thing is your main thing, right? It's how you support yourself and your family. But you also you also work with kids and at a school, and you work with them with their homework, or what is it you do with the kids you do?
I work at a junior high and I assist the main teacher in the classroom. Right now, I am in the English classroom. So anybody struggling, anybody that might need a little bit of extra help, anybody that might need a little bit of extra time on a test, things
Yeah.
like that, I'm in the classroom just as an added support for them.
That's cool. And what aspect of that, right? Because I know you don't have to do that, but you do it because you love it and you enjoy it, helping kids, and I think it's great. It's very commendable that I believe teachers are special and they're underpaid, right? And but what aspect of that job or the volunteer stuff you do that really inspires you and motivates you?
So originally, it was just on a whim because it was my son went to that school. They were looking for a little bit of extra help, and like you're saying, youth are close to heart for me. So junior high, it's a tough age. It's a tough age for anybody. You deal with a lot. You're changing. Your mindset's changing. The things that you're going through are changing. It's very hard. It's very difficult certain days, and sometimes I question it. But at the end of the day, I mean, it's you might be acting out because you had a rough night at home or like there's a reason behind all of it, and it just takes a little encouragement or a different approach or I honestly I love it. There's days where I'm exhausted, there's days where it was rough, there's days where I was like, oh my goodness, but I love it. And if I know that I helped one kid that day, then for me it's all worth it to
Yeah.
hear their stories, to like just trying to find the root of why they are the way they are, or being able to make an impact like that amongst a lot of different kids for me is rewarding.
That's cool, man. If there were more people like you, the world would be a better place. That's for sure. Because we need more people like that. They just do something because they care and like helping their fellow human. Um, and thank you for sharing that. And so, like, personally for yourself, right? Like, I know you have your real estate business. You're a mom, and you do this volunteer or part time work you do. Um, what else is in store for you? Like, what really inspires you to look out, for other things in life? Like you're always, at least for myself, I'm always trying to raise the bar for myself and looking at other things to do. Um, and for you, what does that look like? Like what is your goal like that motivates you? Like I'm doing this for now, but until I'm kind of focusing on moving the needle up a little bit. What does that look like to you?
Sure. I mean, for me, my kids are getting older faster, and I'm realizing I'm going to have a lot more time on my hands. So I just feel like real estate is the perfect avenue for me to kind of build.
Yeah.
Like I mean, real estate is you're building it from the ground up. So for me, that's an endless road at the moment.
Yeah.
Currently trying to build on that. And then if I build on that, if my kids don't know what they want to do straight out of high school, then I have something that I've already built with a
Yeah.
plethora of people that maybe they can hop in and they can help me out with that. And maybe that's something that they can continue to build. Or maybe it's something that they do temporarily until they figure out what path they want to take on their own.
Yeah.
And then as I can build that and get people underneath me to work under me, then that kind of opens doors for me. Then maybe I take my business and I have investment properties and I would like to have vacation homes and, I just
Yeah.
want to kind of extend everything real estate out for me. What can I build for me? What can I build for my family? Can I
Right.
build a vacation home? It's just what can
Yeah.
I build that's going to help my family?
That's
What can I
cool.
build that I can leave to them that they can have for their families? I just want to keep building in that area and aspect. I
Yeah.
want more in that.
What do you think is the hardest part of being in the real estate business?
Honestly, a lot of people see the real estate business as like this glamorous business that you're just gonna start doing it and you make so much money doing it and it's so easy. Real estate is hard work, number one, and real estate is very expensive. I don't think that a lot of people realize all of the fees and time and training and money that goes into being in real estate, keeping your license active, and then building, your database of
It, it,
clients. It
it's
takes a lot to
it's
get
it's
enough clients
yeah.
under your belt.
It's interesting because I follow this guy, this real estate guy out of New York, and he pretty much said something similar when he first got into the real estate. This guy does like tens of millions a year in sales, and obviously, right, the minimum apartment in New York is in several millions, but. And he kind of said like when he first got in the game that he just got eaten up alive. He was renting, just selling like rental things and rental units. But yeah, I don't think people count the cost when they're going out there, and investing. You have to invest in yourself a lot.
Oh yeah, you definitely have to invest in yourself a lot. It looks very glamorous and it is fun and you do meet a lot of new people, but my managing broker Nicole here at Caldwell, she's amazing. And when I came into this, like, before I even came into it, while I was still taking my classes, she was very honest with me. And she says, it takes 3 years till you've built a good database of clients.
Yeah.
3 years. So you need to be ready to pay all of your dues, all of your real estate fees, all of your taxes, and all of the stuff associated with it for 3 years before you have a full database where you're successful and you're getting referrals constantly and consistently. And yeah, so just know that it is fun. It is a lot of fun. You do make great money doing it,
Yeah.
but it does take time and it does take
Yeah.
investing in yourself.
Yeah. And when you say investing, I know financially, right? There is an investment. You got to pay your dues and all that, but also like personal development too, right?
Oh,
Like,
yeah.
there's a lot of things, and I'm sure you had times where you just say, "The hell with this! I'm quitting. I'm not doing this." Right? And because I think everybody's reached that point. Me personally too. And so, and what was that like for you in those hard times when you're like, "Oh my God, I spent." X amount of dollars and fees and this and that. And in the beginning, right, when you first got into it, how was that feeling? Like, touch base on that.
I mean, that was a struggle. I mean, I can't say that I went in blind, but that doesn't make it any less of a struggle when you're like, okay, great. Well, I have nothing in the funnel and I have no closings currently under my belt and my real estate fees are due and I have no idea how I'm going to pay those. But I mean, it's defeating, but it's never been to the point where I'm like, oh, screw this. Like, I'm done with real estate. Like, it wasn't worth it for me. It wasn't. I mean, again, it's big picture. Like,
Yeah.
what did I get into this for? Is it easier for me to say, oh, okay, I quit. I'm going to go get a job, another 9 to 5, or I'm going
Right.
to do something. I'm going to build somebody else's business versus building mine. At the end of the day, I got into this because I wanted to build something for myself and my family. So while I am defeated, I know that
Right.
there's more to come. It's going to get easier. It's going to get better.
Yeah, I like what you said. That really stuck in my head. The big picture, So the big picture was what you just mentioned a little while ago. Leaving legacy for your kids and your family. Is that like the thing that kept you going? What was the thing that really kept you going? You mentioned, yeah. So big picture. While you're going through the struggles and you're kind of like, damn, like. I got to get some deals here, and you're spending money to keep your license and your fees and all that. What's that big picture, right? Like, what was that the thing that motivated you, or what was the thing that got you out of like defeated mindset when
I
you're
feel
going
like that's
through.
the thing that always motivates you is your big picture, your why. Everybody has a why, or
Yeah.
else you wouldn't be doing something. If you
Yeah.
don't have a why, then you're not going to dedicate yourself to it. So my why is a lot of things. It's my kids. It's proving to my family that I can do it. You know, whether it's hard, whether sometimes I get kicked in the teeth, whether it's whatever, I can do it. It's
Yeah.
proving like, hey, you can build something from nothing if you work hard towards it and you stay consistent with it, you keep going, you push yourself, like you can achieve what you want to achieve, but it's not going to happen. It's not always going to happen overnight. I mean, maybe
Yeah.
you get lucky and you achieve it and you have it, but it's, you know, it's being financially sound. It's having something that you know that you created. It's pushing yourself to get there.
Yeah.
It's all of that. And then, you know, setting an example for your kids, setting an example for other people.
Yeah.
Like it was hard, but you know, like I got here, or
Yeah.
you know, or it's motivating other people that are just getting started. Like, hey, it's really hard. Like I've been there.
Yeah.
I remember when, but it's, you know, knowing that maybe you're just about to be on the other side of that and you don't even know it yet.
Like what Tony Robbins says. He says that consistency is the mother of repetition is the mother of all mastery. And you just stay consistent with it, right? Like you brought up earlier, you brought up going to the gym. I know you have a personal trainer. When you decided to, you know, get healthy, eat better, and show your family there's a better way to eat and a healthier way to eat, you know, I'm sure, you know, that wasn't easy, you know, when you're
And just to
eating.
go off of that, actually, just this past week, my 11-year-old, he just started wrestling. Wrestling season just started again. This is his second year wrestling, but he's wrestling at a certain weight class, and he made the decision that he wants to go down a weight class. Nobody told him that he needed to. My husband and I are very new to wrestling. We don't really, you know, understand it too much yet, but he decided that he wants to wrestle at a lower weight class. So he decided that he was going to do whatever it took so that he can get down. And I think he needed to be down 4 or 5 pounds, so that he could wrestle in a lower weight class. And so just maybe 4 days ago, he decided this, and he came home and he said, okay, Mom, so I need to cut for wrestling so that I can meet this. And he and himself did it all by himself. He told me what he wanted to eat, how many meals he was going to have, how much water he was going to drink, and he did it. And then yesterday, I think he was like, Mom, yesterday morning he woke up, he said, I'm 110.2 pounds.
Damn.
I have 0.2 pounds left to go to wrestle in the weight class that I want to wrestle in. But he took that initiative himself. He made the decision. He stuck
Yeah.
through his diet. He did what it took to get to where he needed to be
At 11 years old.
at 11 years old.
Yeah, and it's perfect because, like you just said, right, you're setting an example for your family to transition. You know, you look amazing, and so you know it's all about being consistent. You know, in what you do, and then the results will come.
Yeah.
You know, what are you looking for in 2024 in your business and what you're doing with all your endeavors? What does that look like?
Just trying to set the tone, trying to make sure that, again, like what we talked about earlier, there's several different aspects of things that I want to concentrate on this year. But again, it's my biggest struggle, and everybody's struggle is the consistency of it.
Yeah.
So I'm working on schedules, actually, on a couple different things.
Does that work for you? Like scheduling things?
I need to, if I do not get a pencil and a paper, and if I do not write it down and have a plan in my head, I could have a plan all day long. It helps definitely to write it down for me, to make a plan, even throwing it in my phone to where it's sending me 3 reminders a day or whatever. Like, hey, guess what? Tomorrow is the day that you're going to do X, Y, and Z. And then Thursday is the day that you're going to do X, Y, and Z. So my biggest thing this year is going to be scheduling and planning, knowing what that looks like for this year to make me more profitable, to make me more successful, to build even more relationships, clients.
Yeah, I think for myself, that was one of my pitfalls, not writing stuff down. And I'm just beginning to write stuff down because I've always worked well with an assistant, right? And so, you know, and that's just pure laziness. Hey, what do I got today? Like our producer who schedules a podcast and all that, you know, I always tell him, hey, make sure you remind me. And one of the guys that I follow that I'm going to meet him. I have to go out of town, but I was supposed to meet him this month. And he always was talking about writing things down. And so I got myself a little thing, a little planner thing, and I'm starting to write things down.
I mean, you
And
could have great thoughts all day long. You could have amazing
yeah,
things. You could think, oh, I need to be here. I need to do that. When I get home, I need to do
but
this.
you forget.
But you forget. And I
Yeah,
mean, it's going back to even like the things like your goals, your ambitions. Did you
yeah,
write them down?
yeah,
Are you going to remember them? Vision boards. It's
yeah,
writing something down so that you can see it. You're
yeah.
creating a vision for the rest of your life.
And
You're
it's
able to
funny
see it.
because I've taught that and I've done it in the past, but again, it's with the consistency,
Yep.
And so, and that's great that you're starting to do that because that inspires me. Because I said, I know I'm kind of heading in the right direction, because I keep listening to that and from different sources. But when this guy that he's a sales trainer, he talked about that pretty in depth. And I said, you know what, I'm going to start writing stuff down, and I did. And the other day, about a week ago, I interviewed a guy who's a fashion designer. His podcast is going to be coming out in the next week or two, and we interviewed, and we were at his warehouse where he designs it, and it just brought me where I had written down this warehouse how I wanted my thing to be, and that was another thing, like wow, it's been like 2-3 years since I thought of that because I didn't write it down.
Yeah.
I could have been manifested already.
I mean,
and
there's been
worked on.
times where like even my kids or whatever, like I'll take my eyeliner or whatever and I'll like write stuff on my mirror. Or if there's like at one point
With your
there
lipstick.
was like dry erase markers in the bathroom and you just, it's just
Yeah.
like something, you're going to look in yourself in the mirror every day. You're going to get
Sure.
ready. You're going to brush your teeth. You're going to look at your mirror
Yeah,
every
we
morning.
would hope you
It's
brush your
taking
teeth.
a dry erase marker and, maybe writing your plan for the day, or don't forget that
Yeah.
you can accomplish what you set your mind to, or whatever it is for you. Like even
Yeah.
for my kids, like I had made them a sheet and I taped it to their mirror so that they're able to read that. Or even if you're
Yeah.
not consciously reading through it every day, as long as you're seeing it on
Yeah.
paper, it kind of reminds you like, oh yeah,
Yeah.
You glance at it, you see it. It brings
There
it.
is a scripture in the Bible in the Old Testament. I think it's in Habakkuk, and it says that write the vision down, though it may tarry, it will surely come to pass. And that book was written thousands of years ago. And the writers of that book, I don't know who wrote it, but it's true. Those are principles of life. Like you just write your vision down so you could see it, and then you'll see it manifest, come to fruition. So that's cool. So you're starting to implement that in your business and your personal life
Yeah.
and that sort of thing. That's cool. And what about for your clients that you're working with now in 2024? What do you see that the market? I know we touched base that in the beginning, but in the first home buyers, what do you see that coming in 2024? Is it going to be better? Things are going to open up.
I mean, there's no way to make any promises
Because I know
on
people
any of
people
that.
always say that. I know.
Yeah.
I'm not going to hold you to
Yeah.
it. I don't think they're going to hold you to it. But what can we look forward
Right now,
to?
it seems to be stabilizing. Hopefully, interest rates will drop a little. Will continue to drop a little bit. How fast that'll happen, if it actually happens, nobody can know for certain. But again, I mean, if the question, which everybody seems to ask, is it a good time to buy? Is it a good time to sell? Like, again, it's all going to depend on you. What are you looking for? Are you looking for your forever home? If you're looking for your forever home, and your home right now is a little bit small, absolutely go ahead. Sell your small home, get your forever home. The interest rates get low, you're just going to refinance.
Yeah.
But you're still going to stay in that house. You foresee your job staying the same, you foresee everything staying the same. Absolutely, buy the house that you want. It might be a little bit higher, but I mean, if it's something where, you're like, oh, I just want to buy this house to buy it. I'm going to keep it for now. A couple years, I'll move out. Maybe I'll use it as an investment and rent it out, or
Yeah.
maybe I'll flip it. I'll put some work into it and I'll try to
Right.
resell it. But if you're buying high and you're going to get rid of it a year from now, you don't
Yeah.
know what the market's going to look like. Prices may
Yeah.
have dropped. Are you losing money? Probably.
Yeah.
So if it's something short term, I would say probably not the greatest idea. If it's something long term,
Right.
absolutely.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. But real estate. You study real estate, right? Real estate is always, it takes dips, but it's always going up.
Yep.
And so unfortunately, interest rates are up right now. But and so
They've been higher.
yeah, you have a son who's a baseball player,
Yes.
and hopefully he makes it to the majors, huh?
I mean, one can only hope.
So 2024 looks good to buy real estate. And so For those that want to get in the real estate game or in real estate struggling, your story is inspirational. What do you advise, or you could give some advice to them, right? That they're in the grind. It's up and down, and whether they're in real estate or not, what kind of advice as a businesswoman, right, or men out there, what kind of advice you have for them, right? Because you seem to kind of fix the issues, right? When you're struggling, you prep your mindset, you train yourself, you go to sales training, you read books, and right now you kind of know what you're lacking, and you fix those things. You start working on that, right? And it's amazing with the health thing, because like 2 3 years ago, I took that stuff serious too, so I kind of get it where you're coming from with that. Obviously it takes work, it takes sweat and tears, and anything we do, right? Nothing's easy, right? If everything was easy, if broccoli could taste like chocolate,
Yep, that'd be great.
oh my God, that'll be it'll be billionaires. But it doesn't, and so it takes effort, and it takes focus, it takes consistency. So what kind of advice you have, right? Because you seem like you're getting it together, and you start tweaking, fixing yourself. And so, what kind of advice you have for that person who's struggling, who's stuck? Maybe perhaps they're doing okay in their business, but in life in general, right? They're not very happy with it.
I mean, obviously, I don't have it
And
all.
I know I threw in a bunch of stuff,
Yeah.
right? But
I mean, obviously, I don't have it all figured out, and I
Right.
haven't mastered it all. And there's still days where I'm like struggling through. But I mean, the only advice that I can give is if there's something that you want, I mean, what's really stopping you from going after it? I mean, obviously, there could be a lot of things that are stopping you from going after it. It could be financial, it could be time, it could be family, it can be a lot of different things. But I mean, if there's something that you want, figure out ways to go after it. And if there's times when you're feeling defeated, find something uplifting to listen to. Find something that's going to motivate you. Find something that's going to put you back on track. I was just listening to a podcast by Ed Milet, and it was talking about reaching your goals and how to get there and how to do it. And just like I was saying, there's days where I'm defeated, and I feel far away from some of the goals that I want to
I would not say,
accomplish.
sorry to cut you off there, but you weren't defeated. I think you're defeated when you freaking quit, right? So you were feeling defeated.
Feeling defeated. And in the podcast, he's basically talking about, how to reach your goals and stuff like that. And he said something, and I was just like, holy cow, like you never think about it like that, is you could be so close to hitting your goal, and you think that you're so far away that you just give up and you just fall into routine, and your momentum slows down, and you're not hitting it as hard. And it could have been you're just one jump away from hitting that goal, but you let your momentum slow down because you still thought that you were so far away. So, I mean, that for me, and I'm sure I'm butchering the way that he said it because I'm not Ed Milet, but that for me, that resonated with me, because there's plenty of times where I think I'm there and I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm still so far away from, being where I want to be. But how do I know? It could just be one person. It could be one conversation. It could be one interaction. It could be one meeting that can put me or take me to where I've been striving to be. And instead, you get to feeling defeated and you lose your momentum. So I guess, like my advice for somebody is just make sure that you're listening to things that are going to constantly push you or remind you or motivate you or just make you think just a little bit different, because it helps. It helps on the days where you're feeling defeated. It helps on the days when you feel like you're not enough, and it pushes you. Or seek out mentorship. Find somebody that's going to push you. Never be the smartest person in the room, but always look for a room to be the dumbest person in, or whatever. Just find people that you can surround yourself with that take you up a notch, kick you up a notch, pick you up a notch. Anything, I mean, whatever it takes, whatever that you need that's going to get you there, seek it out. Find somebody, find a friend, find a family member, find somebody that that is in a better place than you are, or find the person that's doing what you'd like to be doing and say, hey, how'd you get there? How hard was it? What did it take? How many hours of dedication? Like, what what's it going to take for me to get where you are?
Yeah, well, that's great advice, and I always say this, and it seems like I say it in every podcast, but it's you got to just surround yourself, right? I've had like an executive chef. He owns about 6 restaurants, Mexican fusion, and he came here to the United States 15 years ago or 20 years ago, and he was washing dishes, and he just kind of like followed the pasta maker, the salad maker, and now he's a chef, and he owns 6 successful restaurants, and it's the same thing. I always say success leaves clues. There's always going to be ups and downs, but yeah, getting motivated, surrounding yourself with the
Yeah.
right people, and it's not rocket science. But sometimes I think we allow our situation to overtake our mind, and just forget, right, who we are, and the possibilities is just by just kind of switching our mind and applying
Yeah,
the
and
right
for those
stuff.
people that are, very introverted people and that sounds scary to them, I mean, honestly, like for somebody that's trying to do something bigger or dream bigger or be bigger or, I mean, again, it's getting out of that comfort zone. If you think of a room full of successful people, for some people, that's like, oh, damn, like I'm not on your level, like I can't be here. I don't, like I shouldn't be here. But I mean, it's thinking about it in a different way. Like, holy cow, like I get to be here. Like I get to be in a room full of people that are super successful, and like each one of them might have a little bit of something that I can take away and that can speak to me, or, that can help me. But just, I mean,
Yeah,
parties and rubbing shoulders and
sure. Just
being,
networking. Yeah.
yeah. But another book that I really enjoyed was a book written by Jamie Lima. She is the creator of It Cosmetics. Um, she wrote, I think it was a couple years ago it came out, but it was a fantastic book about how she, as a woman, wanted to start her own business. And several companies told her no, her idea was bad. She wouldn't get anywhere. She wouldn't, she wouldn't amount to anything. And it's a great book about where she came from, her family life, and just being a woman in business that wanted to create something, and all of the people that turned her down, and where she is now. She's a super successful businesswoman. Same thing with the creator of Spanx. Those are two women in business, and but Jamie Lima's book was great. It
Yeah,
was
you
motivating.
recommend it.
It told you,
Yeah.
hey, never give up. Just keep striving for the dream that you have for yourself, and one day it'll come to fruition.
Yeah. Well, thank you for that, Jenica. Thank you for being on the podcast. Really appreciate it. If
Thank you
people
for
wanted to
having
get
me.
a hold of you, whether, I know you work with other investors, but either you're buying your first home or your third home. I know you deal too with vacation homes, and investors too. If they want to get a hold of you, whether they're buying their first home or investment property, how do they get a hold of you?
Sure. So I have a website. It's JennicaEngland.com, or they can look me up on social media. Same thing, Jenica England. Shoot me a message, and we can get going from there.
Okay. Guys, follow her, Jennica England. You're looking to get inspired, and you want to get into the real estate game, she could direct you. Until then, keep it real. Thank
All
you.
right. Thank you.